So, what exactly is the Arena Success Group Striving to Thriving system? Okay, well, it's an organization success system. It's got clear processes. It's supported by a robust online platform that makes those processes work. And we also provide guidance, inspiration, and a learning center. It has three basic parts to it, or steps, I should maybe say. First, we realize that places are really too busy to tackle another um, project. So the first thing we do is we create the time to think, plan, and lead. We call this Day Master, and it works 4 to 9 hours a week for everybody involved every time. Uh, then we create focus on what really matters. I call this Focus Matter. Get the things that really matter and everything that a person needs to know about your organization on the front and back of a single sheet of paper so it's usable. And then we create teamwork to execute whatever it is the focus is. And it's really that simple. Okay. Now, I know the question is there's other systems out there that sound something like that, or what's special about the Arena Success Group Striving to Thriving system? What really makes us different is everything we do is built upon just a few core principles that I believe are quite unique. First, life should be a passionate, fulfilling adventure. Two, there are 5 keys to a fulfilling, adventurous life. And three, and this is the biggie, because the driving force of every organization is the people in it and the human machine that they become. The 5 keys to thriving instead of just surviving are the same for a person and an organization. They're exactly the same 5 things. The average employee spends 40 hours or more a week at an organization, so the life of the organization and the life of the employee are very connected. And yes, I consider an organization to have a life. All right. So that begs the question, well, that sounds great, but how's it really work in the real world? Because we've all seen things that don't actually work in the real world. Well, broadly speaking, there are 3 ways that an organization is really run. I've tried them all, okay? Um, but in reality, they can be handled or illustrated with 3 ideas. The first is a kingdom, all right? So, and these ideas, for the example I'm going to use, when an organization comes up with an idea or initiative, it's an action, which is what organizations do, all right? But anyways, the first is a kingdom. So somebody comes up with an idea and they want to change something. They have to convince somebody, or maybe a few people at the top, to get their blessing. They don't actually have to think it through. They don't actually have to plan well for it. They just have to make those people emotionally excited about it. The success or failure of the idea, it's at the mercy of the energy, motivation, and authority of either its creator or the king who approved it. The majority of the people in the organization have no influence, and the approval system looks like a good old boy system because it probably is. All right. Idea submissions are low because after a few people get rejections, people stop submitting the ideas. The idea quality is completely dependent upon the judgment of the kings. You'll get ideas, but if the kings has a bad judgment of what's a good idea and what's not, you end up going ahead with bad ideas, not going ahead with good ones, and it could be a mess. All right. The failure rate is very high and is due to poor planning and poor, motivation swings from time to time, and things change. And without a good plan and having things really thought out, a lot of projects will just die on the vine. The next is the wild, wild west. Now, I have been most guilty of this one most of my life. All right, so basically, anyone can come up with any idea they want. There's no structure around what is required to really think through and plan for an idea. And leadership wants to encourage ideas, so it says yes to practically everything. And the result is chaos. All right, idea submissions are extremely high, which is expensive in both time and energy. And the quality of ideas is very low because nobody really has to think things out, and which results in a ton of activity, but the organization's often in chaos and doesn't really know where it's going. And the failure rate is out of this world. Most ideas are bad to start with, but this system simply allows a bad idea that somebody, is excited about to go forward. And since there's very little or no planning, even the good ideas fail, and it's a mess. All right. Now, the third way, I would akin to a military operation or something along those lines. So, um, if you're a commanding officer in the military, you can come up with practically any plan you want to accomplish the strategy that your superiors have put you in a position to accomplish. And if you're a general, you're in charge of the strategy. But here's the thing: they are required. If it's your plan, you are required to think it out with incredible detail. You are the rigor of what is required and what you have to show. I was once reading a book by Jocko Willink. It's called Extreme Ownership, and him and another person came up with a plan that to get it approved required over 100 PowerPoint slides for an operation they expected to take about 6 hours. And it was a simple extraction of a kidnapped person. I mean, it's unbelievable. But what does that do? Okay, first of all, you can come up with any idea you want. It actually promotes lots of ideas. But when you have to flesh it out, think it out, plan it out, and justify it through a system, you have to do certain things. Now, that idea's likelihood to succeed, one, goes up dramatically, but two, it eliminates the good old boy system. Things don't get approved just because somebody likes you. You've got a well thought out plan, it's probably going to get approved, all right? And you're going to learn to go and do this with an idea rather quickly to the point where you can decide yourself if it's a good idea or not, and you're going to stop the submission of bad ideas in a hurry. And so we're eliminating the good old boy system. We're giving people a track to run on. We're not just saying, hey, you have an idea, good luck. We're giving them a plan and a way. Their ability to succeed goes up dramatically. And because that goes up, more ideas are brought in. People can come up with ideas on anything, and the quality of the ideas by the time they leave or are up for approval are much higher, and the failure rate is much lower, and your organization gets used to winning. And winning breeds connectivity, it breeds momentum, it breeds happiness. It makes you a team. So, the Arena Success Group, our idea is not to come up with a system or our processes. Everything about how it's built is built on the human machine. So, we create and help you facilitate, in the case of an idea, both the creativity and the discipline to make it work because of the human factors. We don't build in systems that automatically throw something out. We get rid of the good old boy system, and better yet, because a good idea requires outside approval, we bring in everybody in the organization has the ability to approve a great idea or say it's a bad idea. It's called review it. But that's just one example. Everything about the system, we try to say, how does this affect the human machine? Does it improve it? Does it improve those 5 key things that are the difference between thriving and surviving? Does it keep the organization focused on what it says is most important? Are the people aligned in that same focus area? You know, a stampeding herd is a whole lot of animals running as fast as they can in one direction, and they get a long way in a short amount of time and run over everything. it comes in their way. Yes, it's not safe, and I'm not saying that we should create stampedes in our organization, but getting everybody going in the same direction is amazing. And that is basically the people machine. And that is what makes us truly different. So, thank you. And I'll have more questions and answers later.